So the last one for the home genome sequencing is for we call the single WGS, it's called the single tube long fragment rich technology. It's very unique technology. The first paper we published on Nature is 40, I think it's 7 years ago. 7 years ago, at that time we still used the 384 plate to do all the experiments, and now we only use need one tube for all this preparation. So actually, usually we have to explain why, but I think that today most of you know very clearly. So the diploid genome for human is quite different from the haplogenome from human. We got one chromosome from the father, another from the mother. But usually for current home genome sequencing, we cannot discriminate which one is from the father and which one from the mother. So for some kind of study, like the GWAS study, for like the population genetics, you have to see why these people and how these people, and when these people immigrant to some regions or some countries, you need to get haplotype in this population. But the current whole genome sequencing is a mess because it's a mixed together. Two haplotypes from one individual will mix it together because this is our current whole genome sequencing data because you have the DNA fragmentation. Even you use the CARs or use the enzyme, so you got very short DNA fragments for DNA sequencing. So all this DNA will be mixed together, and you sequence use a very complex assembly algorithm to get all these reads mapped to the original chromosomes. But it needs a lot of very experienced bioinformatic guides to give you, and also I think most of this data is not so good. So if you look at the de novo assembly data, nobody just uses home genome sequencing. Most of them we combine with like the make pair or long fragment library data. And another way where we use it here, we call it co-barcoding technology. So actually the DNA actually is very, the genome is very long, it's 6 gigabase, 2 chromosomes for each chromosome. Each genome will be 3 gigabase, and actually is for 24 different chromosomes. So for it, after DNA extraction, we got very long fragments. We will use a barcode to label this long fragment rates. So after we labeled, we can very easily to distribute like this part. We labeled this long DNA, and for the assembly, we can only assemble the DNA with the same barcode. So this is co-barking technology. So I think, can you see very clearly about the workflow? I choose a high resolution picture here. So first one, we have a transposon here. So the transposon, we have some adapters here to show you. This is 2 adapters. And we have the long genomic DNA is more than 40 kilobase pair. It's very long fragment DNA. So we put them together. So you will see, because in the tube is still we have column barcode base. So the base is very big. It's much bigger than the current purification or extraction base we use. It's very big. So the DNA, the long fragment DNA, they were ramped along the base. It's like the base is like a board. There was a lot of things wrapped on the base. And then the transposon will insert to the genomic DNA, long fragment genomic DNA. So here you can see there was in the center is a base. And this is the DNA. So the DNA will be insert a lot of transposon, but transposon at the moment is inactive. So they will link to the genomic DNA, but don't do anything, just link to it. And for this part, this tiny part, you can see this is the beads, this is the beads, this is the beads. We have column barcode beads, so that we have some DNA oligo, which we hybridized in the base. And this is the transposon DNA, which wrapped here along the base. So we have a capture spin oligo as a bridge to help them together. And then here we have a ligation step to link the oligo on the base and the transposon adapter. Did I answer your question? Yeah. So, because in the actual, somebody see how this the oligo in the base links to the transposon base adapter. So there was a spin oligo to help them to link together. Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit better? How do you manage to get one DNA molecule around all four of them?
So the base is very huge. So one DNA, one base. So the DNA will wrap the base. There was the transposon. Actually, there was no barcode there. They just adapter, universal adapter. So the transposon we increased to one DNA along one base. So each base you would like see like here, just individual words. Have his own DNA, his own library, but transposon is very universal, the same. So the barcode here is just actually the barcode here is just to they want to marker the DNA. Okay, yeah. So the step will be 5, like the isolated long DNA, transposon insertion, hybridization DNA with column, that means this part, and ligate because there was a gap here. So with a ligation step to fill the gap and introduce a second adapter. Here, this part introduce the sequencing adapter. So after we move those short molecules, we can see the meaning of the fragment length will be more than 50 kilobase per. But actually, this is I think the quality for these samples is really good. Usually, sometimes we strap DNA cannot get so longer. Depends on your quality for the DNA. And after your mapping, so actually you can use the sequencing because it's still home genome sequencing data. You can still get very high quality of the mapping and this indel sequencing. But here I want to emphasize, so the duplication rate is higher than all the current home genome sequencing kit because the DNA input for this technology is 1.5 nanogram. 1.5 nanogram long fragment DNA. So if we sequence 30x or 40x sequencing data, you got a higher duplication rate. But anyway, you can get very high accuracy of the DNA and indel calling information, and also you can get the CMV at very high resolution. So this is the standard samples we find at 150 kilo deletion in this sample. So from the stLFR data, you can see in this part is blank in the plot picture. Actually, it's because it's a picture to show us. Actually, the true things is here. Just we cannot see any barcode to map this genome, or we will see less barcodes, or I think maybe some barcode cannot because we got the haplotype for the genome. So and also we didn't show here because the reference standard samples actually there are not so many structural relations which have been very validated fully. And for here, to show you that for the single WGS whole genome sequencing data, you can use different two applications. First one, just use it as a high level of resequencing. So if for high level of resequencing, you can sequence almost the same sequencing depth, like the 30x effective sequencing depth. You can get information from the SNPs, you can get information from Indel, you can get information from CNV and SV. So we have already published a software or algorithm which is open to access. So anyone can download on the website to install the software to analyze this data for the resequencing. For this part, actually we recommend for our customers to use like tumor or to use like some disease which has a lot of translocations, lots of copy number, very small copy numerations, which is very difficult to identify in the current home genome sequencing data. So they have very, very good performance in these projects. And also for the adaptive performance for de novo sequencing, we have to sequence much higher. So just remember that if we got much higher duplication for the single WGS technology, so for this part we have to get 50x effective sequencing depth for de novo assembly. So the current counting for the N50 we have already reached 100 kilobase pair. 100 kilobase pair actually is almost the top bound the length. So it's quite very similar to third generation sequencing data. And for the breakpoints and relocations, translocations, inversions, sometimes because we have the higher sequencing depth, the assembly performance for the translocation structuration is better than the resequencing model. So use a single WGS library kit, you can use different. And this for de novo assembly usually used for reference genome projects. So the reference genome projects now is back to popular because sequencing depth, sequencing costs increase, and everybody wants to have a reference genome for each population. For some like the plants and animals, the same. And for the some cases to show the animals and the plants for the de novo assembly. So and also this is the birds. We sequence a lot of birds and fish in BGI research because we have some academic activities and projects going for it. So from experience in the BGI research, they have very good feedback of this library kit technology. And because this technology is quite unique, we cannot find very similar technologies in the marketing. So instead of just giving you a library kit, we have a solution for you because we want to help you to understand and use it. So for the library preparation, so because we want a long fragment DNA, so even we have our own protocol to extract DNA, we are still compatible with the commercial kits from Fang Chen and Agilent. And for the library preparation, because we have already a kit, it's quite easy to use for the library preparation. Even the principle is very complex, but the procedure, the library procedure is not so difficult. It's quite easy to use. And also we are doing the automation system for the library kit to make you more easy to use. And for the sequencing, so here I just want to show you that even we call this individual sequencing kit is different from the current parent 100 because actually the length is much longer than 100 pair because we still have some reagent to sequence the barcodes, which we call barcode to mark the base. And also for the analysis, actually we have two different modules. The first one, if you have very experienced biomatic team, you can download the software and algorithm from a website. We can send you the the link to the website, you can try yourself, use yourself, because most of our customers actually is using the algorithm developed to analyze themselves. And another one is we compatible the software, we write down what's the software to Megaport system. So the Megaport system is a biometric and also the accelerating system in MGI. So in the Megaport system, we have already integrated the current whole genome sequencing, whole exome sequencing, and the current RNA sequencing. So now we have also integrate the single WGS sequencing data analysis software inside the system. So it's easier to use the library kit and the whole system. And also you can got the haplotype and very complex structuration if your project is really difficult for the current whole genome sequencing. And also you can got most of all these variants in the genome, the information in the genome. And it would be compatible to a lot of species. And also, I didn't mention that we have another project that uses single WGS for the meta genome. So you want to assemble all of these species existed in the stool samples. So here, just want to emphasize some things in case you forgot. So the first one, we have a very strict sample requirements. So it's actually 1.5 nanogram, but still you can use more because if you use more DNA, you can get lower duplication, but you cannot get very precise or very long haplotype because it puts more DNA than bees. And because we need very long DNA fragments, so we recommend 2 kits for you for DNA extraction. So if your customer, if he has already extracted DNA with lactochitin or some kit, if the DNA is too short, you cannot use the stLFR because you will not get very fruitful information from here. And this is a library kit information here. So at the moment, we have 16 samples per kit, but we have already working on the 96 samples per kit for the cohort study users. And there's the package, the 16 kit here, and also the library conditions here. And there's the whole picture for the whole genome sequencing here. So for the current 5 different kits, you can use these different applications, the various types, DNA input amount, and the quality for the DNA required, and also how you can deal with the fragmentation, the time, the automation option. So we have already got the MGI SP100 for these 3 kits, and also we got 96. And also, if your lab have some other automation system, we can try whether it is fully compatible. So after introducing all these 5 kits for home genome sequencing data, I'll just show you some the home the research and also the clinical trace. So because the decreasing sequencing cost and also increasing data shares, so there's just here. So everyone is asking whether when will come to $100 genome battery. I don't know, depends on you. But especially in year, but we're looking for maybe next year, maybe in 3 years, maybe in 5 years, we finally we can achieve affordable price for home genome sequencing. And for the past 12 months, you can see all this as far as we got published news, we got very increase the throughput of all the sequencing capacity. And also there are some, you can see now very clearly, so this is the National Genome Projects. We have known most of these cohorts are waiting for sequencing. As far as I know, very little proportion of the samples have been sequenced. Some of them are using whole exome sequencing, but not genome sequencing. And for most of these cohort or biobank, the gap between the sample, the biochemical sample, or the biological sample to knowledge actually is sequencing, digitalization. They call digitalization, including the sequencing also biochemical or image data. So there was a very huge marketing for the whole genome sequencing, and this is the we recommend for the population genetics. So for the first reference genome, so like we example showing the human genome projects actually is asked for de novo assembly. So ask for de novo assembly strategy, very complex algorithm, but just one people, maybe one trio than this. Not too many people doing the reference genome, but maybe in the future, if the cost is really low, maybe more people will do the reference genome, because there were lots of isolation populations, like the island or some very small countries. There was no reference because actually they have been isolated life for a long time. And even also for multiple peoples, there was not a majority peoples in some countries. It's still like China. So, and also for the reference panel, actually the reference panel step is trying to get all the population haplotypes. So you want to get all these haplotypes in this population. So usually for this reference panel, they have to sequence 1% of all the citizens. So usually they will recommend this. And then for the population genetics, there's this is where secondly 5 million project data. So in the population genome stage, usually we focus on the disease, actually not focus on the healthy, also focus on the disease, like diabetes or like the inherited disease or cancer. And for at the moment, for individual, really individual genome actually is like the D2C or sequence all the citizens. So at the moment, still need some time to become more mature. So our recommended solution for the large biobanks and cohort studies, that is, you have to sequence 1% samples, maybe a few thousand, with reference panel. So during this stage, you have got the reference independence, the haplotype, the de novo assembly. So stLFR whole genome sequencing is recommended for the reference panel construction stage. And for the rest 99% of the samples, maybe million level, we recommend 10x whole genome sequencing PCR-free. So if you have enough money, you can sequence 30x WGS sequencing, whole genome sequencing and PCR-free. But at the moment, with limited budget or because the sequencing cost is still a little high, for million samples, you can sequence less lower sequence steps. So the current two sequencing PCR-free DNA library is recommended then to use. So just summary for the whole genome sequencing. So we have 5 different library kits on sale. We have 2 automation systems which compatible with this library kit. And we have a megabot system for the whole genome sequencing and also for the single-WR sequencing data for analysis. I think that's for whole genome sequencing. Any question? Any question? No? 没有，就是这个。那我直接往下吧。休息一下吗？
So you want to continue or take some 5 minutes, 10 minutes break? Okay, okay. Yeah, we took 10 minutes break and we'll continue with the axon sequence now.
讲多长时间？
1个小时，正好。